Happy Friday, you made it. Congratulations. We all made it. We're closing out. Yeah, barely. We are closing out September, but it might feel more like July outside. Thanks so much for joining us this afternoon. I'm Mark Salinger.
And I'm Jennifer Meckles. It's going to be a great weekend to get a little more leaf peeping in before the peak of that is over. Let's start with a live look tonight at the tunnels, up at the Eisenhower-Johnson tunnels on I-70. You should and will get some expecting heavy traffic out west. A lot of people are going to try to get in that fall drive this weekend. If you are curious where to go, we have a list of the 9 best drives you can take for fall colors on 9news.com. Let's bring in Kathy Sabin now because fall, it feels like summer. What's up with this confusion?
It's like
of the
90 out, right?
It's crazy, right? It feels like late August instead of 75 degrees, which we should be seeing at the end of September. But guys, no record highs today, so we'll take that. We have a beautiful afternoon, and if your travels take you into the mountains tonight, great travel weather as well. Temperatures are in the mid-80s, 10 degrees cooler than yesterday. Compliments of a dry front that's come through. More of a wind shift than anything else, but those winds have allowed for enough residual moisture. There may be a stray shower in the central or southern mountains tonight. Basically, it's just a little cooler today ahead of a warmer weekend and the chance of another record high. No, nobody wants that. So let's focus on the good. We've got a couple of isolated showers on the radar today. Telluride, Aspen, Vail. Okay, maybe that moisture's not making it to the ground, but I haven't been able to show a radar picture with anything on it in quite some time. And so high pressure is our dominant weather feature here, so we're really focused on the big weather story of the day, and that was dangerous Hurricane Helene, spreading a swath of heavy flooding rain across 1,400 miles and still producing life-threatening weather tonight. I'm going to have more on that, plus your weekend forecast in detail. That's coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Kathy. A teenager who shot 5 people in a Lodo bar after a Lodo bar would not let her inside, will now not be sent to prison. She pleaded guilty today to avoid any prison time.
She will get a felony conviction, but one survivor is still not happy about that deal. 9 News investigative reporter Jeremy Hahola has been following this case it's been a year now, Jeremy. Back in court this morning.
Yeah, for Kiana Rosenberg, the max amount of time she may get as part of this plea deal may be 7 years, but for one survivor, she has lifelong injuries to her body and mind.
Yeah.
At age 26, Desiree Gomez should have been well on her path to her dream of becoming a doctor.
I've had 5 surgeries.
5 surgeries on her legs and maybe one more in the future as she's still trying to gain her life back after that really bad night in downtown Denver.
I actually rarely leave my house, but it just kind of happened that I was out that night and it shifted everything for me. I had to cut back on school. I actually dropped out. I'm planning on going back, hopefully, but it was a lot. It was definitely took a huge toll on my body, huge toll on me mentally. So,
Desiree is one of 5 survivors hit by gunfire on September 16, 2023. The teenager who pulled the trigger is Kiana Rosenberg, who fired indiscriminately at Whiskey Row. She was angry a bouncer wouldn't let her into the bar over a fake ID. Rosenberg was 17 at the time.
and that's where it went in. It's now a new scar, but...
Shot twice in the legs with permanent nerve damage and a loss of a major artery, Desiree still needs a crutch to walk. And there are marks you can't see.
I am in therapy for PTSD, anxiety. It's a little bit tougher for me to go outside, so...
She tells us she is not happy about the plea deal for the shooter. Rosenberg pleaded guilty to one adult charge of attempted murder, but the deal means she will spend up to a max of 7 years in lockup for juveniles. No adult prison time, if she behaves.
But it still seems like she got a juvenile plea. She is still going to be with other juveniles and younger people, so I think 5 to 7 years is not enough for somebody who opened fired into a crowd of people. She affected a lot of people that night. I think lack of accountability doesn't just fall on her anymore. I think it falls on our court system as well.
Rosenberg had 21 years of her adult prison time suspended. The judge warned her today in court if she messes up in juvenile lockup, she'll serve that adult prison time. In a statement, the Denver District Attorney says based on Rosenberg's lack of criminal history and young age, The plea agreement holds her accountable while providing her a path for rehabilitation. Rosenberg will be sentenced in January for a max of 7 years. Live in the studio, Jeremy Hohola, 9 News.
Jeremy, thank you. We are learning more this afternoon about a crash that killed a woman in Boulder. It happened just before 5 o'clock this morning on Broadway and Ash. A 38-year-old woman died at that scene. The road was closed for about 5 hours this morning, and Boulder police say the driver stayed on scene and is cooperating with police. Boulder police also have a new tool to try to keep the community informed about traffic crashes, just like the one that happened this morning. The department has created a new dashboard. Police say they're responding to a community request. People want to see information when a crash happens, and they also want to follow these cases through to their endpoint. Well, Boulder Police hopes this new dashboard will give the public information at the same time not compromising any active investigations. The chief of police hopes this extra information will help people be more aware of their surroundings, whether they're walking, riding a bike, or driving.
In political headlines, right now we are 38 days away from the presidential election, and blue books are starting to hit mailboxes right here in Colorado for all our voters. The packet includes all the information for 14 statewide initiatives on the November ballot. That's a lot, which is why our team made an easy voter guide for you to reference as you're filling out your ballot. And it can also help you start at the very beginning of the process, helping you register to vote as well. Our guide also has a link to the online version of Colorado's Blue Book. You can find our voter guide right now on 9news.com. On the campaign trail, 2 high-stakes trips today for candidates.
Former President Trump met with Ukrainian President Zelensky, and Vice President Harris made her first trip to the southern border as a formal presidential nominee. NBC's Alice Barr has more.
Vice President Harris traveling to the border today in battleground Arizona, her first border visit in more than 3 years, aimed at blunting criticism over a key vulnerability. As polls consistently show, more Americans believe former President Trump would better secure the border. The vice president said to call for tightened security, including more Border Patrol agents and new fentanyl detection machines. That's according to a senior campaign official. She's pointing to her background prosecuting transnational organized crime, including drug and human trafficking, and going on offense, blaming former President Trump for turning Republican lawmakers against a bipartisan border bill.
He killed a bill that would have actually been a solution because he wants to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem.
The former president has argued that bill wasn't tough enough and says Vice President Harris shares the blame for the record 10 million illegal border crossings throughout the Biden administration. Those numbers have sharply dropped in recent months, but it remains a top issue for voters.
And nobody who's allowed this to happen to our country is fit to be the president of the United States.
Former President Trump campaigning in Michigan today after holding what he called a great meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, despite recent tensions over what the former president would ask Ukraine to give up to end the war with Russia.
We can work out something that's good for both sides. It's time.
The candidates' plans for global and national security center stage with less than 40 days until the election. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Hurricane Helene is now tearing a path of destruction across Florida today. That storm has killed at least 42 people across 4 states. It made landfall at Category 4 strength last night. Helene has since weakened to a tropical storm as it continues to move north. It's the strongest hurricane to ever strike Florida's Big Bend. And drone video in Taylor County shows severe damage and debris left behind. 4 million people have no power across Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Virginia. Colorado's Task Force 1 is headed to Florida trying to help with some of the recovery. West Metro Fire says they slept just a few hours in Tennessee last night. Back on the road now. The team is headed to Pinellas County near Tampa, where there is significant damage in some areas. Local authorities say they took more than 5,000 hurricane-related 911 calls just since yesterday, many of those calls for evacuation. CU's Saturday game could even be impacted by this storm.
Yeah, the Buffs are set to play UCF in the Orlando area. It's an afternoon kickoff, 1:30 tomorrow. Orlando isn't in the direct path of the hurricane, but rain and wind could still be a serious problem for the team tomorrow. After this week, the Buffs are on a bye week and won't play again until October 12th. It's a football-filled weekend. Our Broncos insider Mike Kliss will bring us more from the Broncos team practice today before heading to the Jets on Sunday. Before all that, tonight, Friday Night Live highlights. Ashley Moore will join us live in our next half hour at our 9 News Prep Game of the Week.